And good afternoon, everybody. Welcome into our weekly college football recruiting roundup. It's where we give you each week the very latest in recruiting news and information. And we typically do this in the afternoons, on Friday afternoons, going into the weekend of college football. A lot of big college football games and also a lot of big visits, both official and unofficial visits this weekend. So make sure that you hit the like button and hit the share button for us as we get you caught up on the very latest in college football recruiting. And if you've got a recruiting question, you can simply type it in on our broadcast here, or you can email it to us at heyscottymac@gmail.com. That's heyscottymac@gmail.com. We'll give you our top recruiting classes in the country in just a few minutes, plus some of the other top recruiting spots as far as individuals are concerned. But let's get you caught up on what is going on the field, and quite a number of big wins last weekend. Of course, Clemson taking down Auburn, Georgia beating Notre Dame on the road, Oklahoma taking care of Ohio State, and that has certainly had a ripple in the recruiting world, and we'll talk about that. First, a little bit of Alabama news. Top 300 pass rusher Cameron Littell was a big win for the Crimson Tide, being he is 6'5", 236-pound defensive end linebacker, and is another kid from out west that Nick Saban gets to commit, and he is already committed to Alabama, a big one there for them. Also, Oklahoma with defensive end Ron Tatum III committing to Texas on April the 26th. Over Oklahoma, there was some concern. This kid is from the state of Oklahoma, and he has been flipped now to Oklahoma, and he is 6'5", 269 pounds. That is a big one, a big get there. For Clemson, five-star defensive end Xavier Thomas gets the nod here over five-star quarterback Trevor Lawrence for the Clemson Tigers. Both have committed, as we're talking about the top commitments from each school. Those are big. Southern Cal linebacker Pili Gotatoy is the highest rated recruit for the Trojans, now committing there. Big win for the staff. He had offers from Alabama, Ohio State, Florida State. And Ohio State actually signed two of his high school teammates, so a lot of people thought he would end up there. And number 5 this week in our recruiting updates, the Penn State Nittany Lions getting running back Ricky Slade for next year's class really helps them, because they've got to do some things to replace Saquon Barkley, their top running back. But big get for them moving forward for the Penn State team. Let's talk about some of the latest recruiting rankings and the class rankings, if you will. That is the teams as far as in the country and how many commitments they have. Ohio State is holding on right now at the number 1 recruiting class in the country as of today with 18 commitments. Texas is number 2, also with 18 commitments. Penn State at number 3 with 23 commitments. Miami, the Hurricanes, have the 4th best recruiting class as of today with 19 commitments. The Tennessee Volunteers doing very good. They have the 5th best recruiting class this time with 23 commitments as of today. Oregon at number 6 with 22 commitments. The Florida Gators at number 7 with 17 commitments. Florida State at number 8 with 18 commitments. Oklahoma at number 9 with 19 commitments. And LSU at number 10 with 19 commitments. Now, other schools of interest, Clemson at number 12 in the recruiting rankings. They're down 1 spot from last week. Let's see, Texas A&M at number 13, down 1 spot from last week. Notre Dame at 14. Kentucky at number 18. Alabama right now with only 10 commitments. We're going to talk about that in just a minute. They're at number 21. Georgia is at 22 with 12 commitments. Auburn at 23 with 13 commitments. Nebraska is at 24. Baylor is at 25 in our recruiting rankings. Let's give you a quick update on the 10 commitments that Alabama has as of today. The smaller class numbers, a little bit of a kind of a not the norm for Nick Saban and the Alabama Crimson Tide right now. Normally much higher, a little bit slower start. Defensive line is still a huge position of need, and Nick Saban and his staff doing a good job there. Top 300 ends, Stevan Wynn and Jordan Davis, along with versatile defensive end outside linebacker Cameron LaFou, all projected in that field for Alabama. Also outside linebacker Quay Walker, cornerback, defensive back Jalen Armour Davis is another big one for Alabama. Xavier Williams is a fantastic football player, 3-star Slade Bolden. Both of those guys will be help at wide receiver. Also a commitment from Tommy Brown, an offensive tackle, the number 10 rated offensive tackle in the country. So Alabama only with those 10 commitments right now, but all 10 very solid. 7 of those commitments are 4-star, 3 are 3-star. And Alabama has no 5-star commitments as of yet, which is not necessarily a huge surprise, but you'll see them start to pick up. Let's look at Auburn recruiting right now. A quick update on the Auburn Tigers and their recruiting. Auburn with 13 commitments right now, 8 of those being 4-star, 4 of those being 3-star, and then 1 other. It's headlined by an array of offensive skill talent, including athlete quarterback Joey Gatewood. Very high ceiling with this young man. Also, diminutive running back Sean Shivers is there, but he does have a 10.5 100-meter dash time this year. 4-star running back Asa Martin was a nice get for Auburn. Also, Matthew Hill and Shedrick Jackson will be nice additions at wide receiver. On defense, they've added safety Quandarius Monday and 4-stars Jamie and Sherwood on the defensive side. And then you throw in 4-star linebacker Michael Harris out of Georgia. So that's where Auburn is on their recruiting as of today. Now let's look at a couple other schools and just kind of tell you some of their top recruits and go over this as we do every week. Give you the very latest. I'm going to move up here just a little bit. We're going to get back over here. LSU, Ed Ogeron and his staff doing a great job in recruiting. Right now they've got 19 commitments, 11 4-star commitments, 7 3-star commitments. It's headlined by defensive lineman Jarrell Cherry, also Nelson Jenkins, Davin Cotton. They got an impact junior college defensive end in Trevez Moore. The offensive line is a big need for LSU going into this recruiting class, and Cole Smith and Chasen Hines are going to be a big part of that, as well as Derry Rosenthal and Cameron Ware. So they're really doing a good job at LSU adding offensive linemen. Top 300 recruit Chris Curry is a need filler at running back. They've got a really good running back in Darius Geis, but the depth is not what it needs to be. They also have Kelvin Joseph at defensive back, one of the best in the nation. Linebacker DeMond Clark is committed. Linebacker Micah Bakersville. So they're adding key players, especially on the offensive line for LSU. Got to find some help at running back moving forward. The Florida Gators, Jim McElwain, having a much better recruiting year this year than he was this time last year. Remember, the last couple of years they've added kids late. This year they've already got 17 commitments. 9 of those are 4-star. They had a huge July, as we've been telling you about. One-time Southern Cal commitment, and the nation's top quarterback, Matt Corral, is there. He's joined by wide receivers Jamar Chase out of Louisiana and Jacob Copeland. Running back Iverson Clement. Pennsylvania tight end Kyle Pitts. Offensive lineman Curtis Dunlap Jr. Also, one-time Alabama commitment running back Damian Pierce has committed to Florida. On defense, the Gators have added Amon Burney, a playmaker who can play several different positions. Also, defensive back Devon Wilson out of South Florida, and then one-time Miami Hurricane commit Randy Russell. So a good start on the recruiting trail for Jim McElwain and the Florida Gators. For Florida State at number 8 in our recruiting rankings, 18 total commitments, 13 4-star commitments, 5 3-star, no 5-star at this point. This class is already loaded, led by defensive backs A.J. Lighton, Asante Samuel Jr., the son of the former NFL Pro Bowl cornerback Asante Samuel. One-time Tennessee commitment running back Jashawn Corbin, now committed to Florida State. Also Marquez Izard, a big wide receiver there. He is fantastic. They also pick up wide receivers Antone Green and DeMarcus Adams. On the offensive line, Christian Meadows, one of the top guards in the country, he's the fifth highest rated guard in the country, is a commitment to Florida State. Robert Cooper, the number 5 rated defensive tackle. This guy is huge. You're going to love him if you're a Florida State fan. Also defensive end Stacy Kirby, outside linebacker Patrick Joyner, inside linebacker Rosendo Luis. This is a fantastic recruiting class for Jimbo Fisher, I got to tell you, moving forward. So what's the big latest? What are we looking at for this weekend? I know a lot of people are talking about, we've got official visits coming up. Yes, we do. Let's talk about what is happening. Of course, the Tennessee-Florida game this weekend in Gainesville. You're going to see a lot of kids show up down there in Gainesville for this game. That is going to be huge. The Clemson-Louisville game, you're getting a lot of kids out of the Midwest going in for that particular ball game. And you'll see kids visiting there. Also, Georgia has big recruiting weekend coming up this weekend. So we've got Georgia hosting Samford out of Birmingham. A lot of recruits going in on that one. And then also South Florida tonight hosting Louisville. That game on ESPN tonight down in Tampa. And Charlie Strong and the administration of South Florida did a great thing. And what they've done is they've opened up the game free tonight for all high school teams in the state of Florida and their coaches. A lot of high schools in Central and South Florida are not playing because of the lingering effects of Hurricane Irma. And so they're going to have a huge crowd of recruits on hand tonight in Tampa to see South Florida. It's a great move by Charlie Strong and his staff. All right, that is your weekly recruiting update. We appreciate you checking us out. Don't forget, tomorrow morning we will have our college football kickoff show at 9 a.m. live from Acme Oyster House at the Seascape Golf Course there in the Miramar Beach area in the Destin, Florida area. So make sure that you guys come check that out tomorrow morning at 9 a.m. So have a great rest of your Friday. Enjoy high school football if you're headed out tonight. And we'll see you tomorrow morning, Saturday morning at 9 a.m. for our college football kickoff show.